Hello, I don't think we've met. Sam Eriks. Victor Tang. Pleased to meet you. And what company are you from, Mr. Tang? Oceanwide. I'm the sales representative for this region. Ah yes. I know your company. Your business is expanding very rapidly at the moment. Yes, we're doing quite well. And yourself? Who do you work for? Actually, I work for myself. I'm the CEO of a small export and packaging company. We specialize in seafood. It's a growing market. Yes, but a very competitive one, Mr. Tang. Please tell me, Victor. Sam. Victor, let me introduce you to someone. Lin. This is Victor Tang. He's the regional rep for Oceanwide. This is Lin Chan, my sales manager. How do you do, Mr. Tang? I'm very well, thank you. Nice to meet you, Ms. Chan. And you? Can I get you another drink? Thank you. Well, it's been good to meet you, Sam, and very interesting to hear about your business. Look, we are having a small dinner for some of our clients and friends after this. Why don't you join us? That's very kind of you. I'll just check with my associate whether they have other arrangements for us. Your associate is most welcome to join us, too. Thank you. Excuse me. Walter. This is Sam Eriks from Eriks Imports. He has very kindly invited us to dinner. Yes, would you like to join us? Unfortunately, I have another engagement, but thank you for the invitation. Well, perhaps you could join us after that for a drink. Sounds great. I'll be happy to. Where shall we meet? How about the lounge bar here, at about 10 o'clock? I'll see you then. Excuse me. Lin. Victor's joining us for dinner. Oh, wonderful. I hope you don't mind. Of course not, you're most welcome. Well, shall we make a move? Would you mind if I just say goodbye to a few people? No problem. We'll see you outside in a few minutes. Okay. Another drink, sir? No, thank you. Excuse me, is anyone sitting here? No. Please have a seat. That's better. My feet are killing me. Have you been here long? No, but I just flew in this morning. And I haven't had a chance to sit down since then. Oh, where have you come from? From Manila. Is this your first visit to Australia? No, I have been once before, but it was a long time ago. And have you been to Sydney before? No, it's an amazing city. Yes, it has its points. But you're lucky to live in Manila. It's a fascinating city. What about yourself? Do you live in Sydney? No, I live in Melbourne. I'm just here for the conference. I'm going to Melbourne later. What's the weather like there? Not too good in winter, but at the moment it should be okay. So, how's your hotel? It's good. Very convenient. Just near the harbor. Have you seen the Opera House yet? Yes, we flew right over it. Excuse me. There's someone I must talk to. It's been very nice to meet you. I'm Walter, by the way. You too. I'm Sue. Perhaps we'll meet later. I hope so. Has everybody got a copy of the agenda? Would you mind taking minutes, John? Not at all. Good. Well, then let's get started. First of all, thank you, everyone, for attending at short notice. As you know, the objective of this meeting of the Capital Works Committee is to discuss a proposal for some urgent building work at a Southside plant. As we've got to reach a decision which may involve spending, we'll run it as a formal meeting. Now, you've read the proposal, so without further ado, I'd like to open it up for discussion. Perhaps, if we can start with you, Tan. What's your view? Well, I'm not convinced that the work is as urgent as this report suggests. So perhaps we should. So, to sum up, I think we are all aware that some urgent work does need to be done. And we will need to work on a longer-term plan for a major refit. Well, if there's no more discussion, we'll put it to a vote. We are recommending that tenders be called for the urgent work needed. All those in favor? All those against? Then that's agreed. Any other business? Then we'll close the meeting. Thank you, everyone. The next meeting will be in 2 weeks, at the same time. Well, I'm not convinced that the work is as urgent as this report suggests. So perhaps we should. Oh, come on. The building is practically falling down. Sorry, Lynn. I don't think Tan had finished. We'll get to you in a minute. Sorry. As I was saying, perhaps we should get a second opinion before we spend any money. Thank you, Tan. What's your opinion, Walter? Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's a question of safety. So I think we should go ahead. Are you suggesting that someone could get hurt? In my opinion, yes. If you ask me, there is a serious risk of an accident. And it's not a recent problem. Are you implying we should have done something earlier? Much earlier. It's a real concern. Hear, hear. In that case, I agree. We should do something now. I think so, too. Thank you, Walter. Well, if there's not. Excuse me, Madam Chairperson. Yes, Barbara. What about the problem with parking? There were no places again this morning. Maybe if you got to work on time. All comments through the chair, if you don't mind, Walter. Parking isn't on the agenda for this meeting. Perhaps you could suggest it for our next meeting, Barbara. Well, if there's no more discussion, we'll put it to a vote. Hear, hear. Now we're looking at the options for handling our online orders. They're going through the roof, and frankly the lead time for delivery is blowing out. We need to improve our performance in this area. Any suggestions? Well, as I see it, we have 3 options. The obvious one is to employ more people to do the job. Another alternative is to automate the system more, cut down on the physical handling. We could outsource. What are the pros and cons? Well, looking at increasing staff versus automation, we have to consider the cost. Automating has a higher capital cost than putting on more staff. On the other hand, employ more people is more expensive over the long term. If we keep growing, it'll cost more in the long run. How likely is it that we'll see continued growth? I'd say it's a certainty. I'd say a high probability. Nothing's certain in business. So what about the third option? Outsourcing. It does take the problem off our hands. But we lose contact with our customers. What about the bottom line? Outsourcing is the cheapest option and the easiest in the short term. But if we want to keep the operation in-house, the best option is automating our system. The only downside is, we're taking a risk that our business will keep growing. We hope it will. We certainly do. Today we're looking at a new widget plant being built at Southside. I've asked Barbara to report on progress and bring us up to date and up to speed. Barbara? Thanks, Denise. I'll just outline the process we've been through, identify some problems, and give you an estimate on completion time and the outcome financially. Is it good news or bad news? Bear with me. Now, if you recall, after a feasibility study we put the project out to tender 18 months ago. And selected EasyBuild as our project manager. Work commenced about 15 months ago. And it's been progressing to schedule until recently. What's the problem? Unfortunately, there are 3. Firstly, there's been a delay in materials, specifically steel, because of industrial issues at the suppliers. Secondly, we've lost days due to the weather. And finally, there's been a resulting cost blowout. So what are we going to do? Well, they've managed to get another supplier now. I suggested moving the completion date back. That way, there's no penalty. And they agreed to redeploy their workers until the building can start again. Smart thinking. We've been waiting for the rain to stop, but we can't control the weather. And the cost? At this stage, just a small overage. But I'll be watching it very closely over the next few months. With no more delays. We're expecting to complete the project just 1 month behind schedule. Good work, Barbara. Humph. Now, I'd like to refer to the first graph. As you can see, this is a bar graph, measuring net sales over the first 10 months of the year. You'll notice that sales rose steadily in the first few months. Then there was a marked increase in April. They peaked in May at around 3.2 million and leveled off. Then there was a dramatic drop in the following month, followed by a significant increase in August. And this trend has continued up until the present. What was the reason for the sudden drop in July? This was mainly due to a drop-off in air conditioner sales, so it's a seasonal effect. Could it be a consequence of the negative effect of the interest rate rise? Possibly. Now, if I could draw your attention to this next diagram. This is a line graph of sales. The blue line represents air conditioner sales, the red line shows heaters. As you'll note, air conditioner sales dropped steadily from January to July, bottoming out then, while heater sales experienced a sharp increase from March to June. Then it dropped markedly from June to July, then declined through to September with a pronounced drop in October. Does this explain the fluctuation in total sales? Largely. If we look at this pie diagram, you can see that air conditioners and heaters together represent more than half of our total sales. But they vary seasonally, while other appliances are fairly steady throughout the year. Well, we can't sell air conditioners when it's cold. What's the solution? Export to Europe in America. Easier said than done. Today I'm going to look at the results of our customer survey. First, I'll go through the survey questions, then summarize the results. And finally, I'll outline the conclusions. After that, there will be time for questions and discussion. So, let's start with the survey questions. Turning to the results, as you can see from the diagram, most people decided what to buy when they saw the product in the showroom. About 1/3 made their decision based on what the salesperson said, the others knew what they wanted to buy already. Most of those made their decision on the recommendation of a friend. Only a few said they relied on advertising. Let's move on to the conclusions. The first one is that it's very important that salespeople on the floor know about our products. Another is that after-sales service is critical. People who experience well after-sales service are more likely to recommend a brand. And finally, advertising. It's expensive, so we need to make sure we're getting results. So, I'd like to end with a summary of what I've looked at today. And some recommendations. The figures show that sales are strongly seasonal. And that customers depend on good information on the showroom floor. So I'd like to recommend we concentrate on discounting in the off-seasons, and spend more time on briefing our sales representatives. That's all I have for now. Are there any questions? You mentioned that the sales figures may also reflect economic trends. Can you expand on that? Well, we are always going to depend on the economy. Does that answer your question? Are you saying we're in for a period of growth? Well, I'm afraid that's a bit outside my area of expertise, but that's what the papers are suggesting. If you believe it. You suggested that we might be spending too much on advertising. Can you clarify that? It's hard to quantify without better data. Sorry. Could you repeat that? We don't have the figures to really know how effective our advertising is. In my experience, you can't do without advertising. Time for one last question. I have one. Yes, John. Is it time for coffee? Okay, we'll wrap up now. Thank you for your input, everyone. Thank you. Wilson and Wilson, can I help you? Yes, this is Lin Chan from Acme Appliances. I would like to speak to Mr. Wilson if he is available, please. Would that be Mr. Wilson Sr. or Mr. Wilson Jr.? Mr. Wilson Sr. I'll just see if he's available. Hold the line, please. It's a Lin Chan and Acme. I'm sorry, Mr. Wilson's in a meeting at the moment. May I take a message? Yes. Could you ask him to phone me, please? My number is 231155654. I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. Lin Chan, Acme Appliances. Let me check the number 231155654. That's right. I'll pass that message. Thank you. Thanks. Bye. Acme Appliances, Lin Chan speaking. This is Tom Wilson returning your call. Ah yes, Mr. Wilson. Thanks for calling back. I wanted to set up a meeting with you to discuss your requirements for next year. Yes, certainly. How about Thursday at about 2:30? That would be fine. Okay, I'll look forward to seeing you then. Thursday, 2:30. See you then. Goodbye. Goodbye. Hello, Lin Chan, Sales Manager for National Sugar. And my associate John Martin. Very pleased to meet you. I'm Victor Tang, and this is my legal advisor, Sue Panay. I hope you had a pleasant flight over. Yes, we did, thanks. Are you staying for a few days? Unfortunately, we need to get back to Manila tomorrow. Well, we better get down to business. Mr. Tang, to start off with, I just want to say we believe we can offer you a very good deal and come up with a win-win result. Well, from our point of view, we see it as an exploratory tool testing the water, you might say. We don't intend to reach any agreements at this meeting in any case. We would need to run it past our board first. You haven't heard our terms yet. You may find them hard to resist. Of course. We understand you need time to consider any offer. My first priority is to keep the negotiations open. What's your proposal, Ms. Chan? We're prepared to offer a very attractive price for a minimum sale in exchange for a 2-year contract. John will clarify the terms. So that's our offer. We think it's a fair one, with advantages for both sides. Yes, well, we're prepared to consider your offer, Ms. Chan. If you can accept some conditions. And subject to consideration by the board. What are the conditions? Well, firstly, the price you're proposing. Would that be variable depending on the currency fluctuations? The issue is that we're in an unstable environment at the moment. The exchange rate could affect us negatively. Us too. True, but the problem is that we're tied to the US dollar. We could consider hedging against currency in both directions. That would be acceptable. Another problem we may have is that of supply. Our customers often need supply at short notice. If we do get large orders, we need to guarantee delivery, so we need to stockpile. The difficulty there is the capital outlay. How would you feel about a partial offset against our sales? You mean a loan? I suppose so. Would you be agreeable to a deferred payment? We can provide security, of course. I think that would be acceptable. Unfortunately, I would need to get board approval for it. Of course. Then I think we might have a deal. In principle. Time to celebrate. Our keynote speaker is a man who I'm sure is very well known to all of you. He's a professor of fruitology at Dubbo University, and has written many books on the subject of tropical fruit. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Sam Eriks. Thank you, Denise. The Honorable Judith Bryant, Minister for Trade, Professor Eric Vogel, Professor of Economics at Wagga University, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Today's topic, Why Bananas Are Bent, is a very significant one in terms both of international trade and culture. In thinking about the topic, I felt it would be appropriate to address briefly the history of bananas and banana farming. The many qualities of bananas, both positive and negative, and of course examine the uses of the banana. But first, let me tell you a story about a banana. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope I've been able to clear up a few misconceptions and leave you with some new ideas about how we might view bananas in the future. We've seen, in looking at their history, that bananas have a significant role in many cultures. I've also noted their positive nutritional qualities, and in addressing the main question of why bananas are bent, we've learned that the reasons are many and complex. Madam Chair, thank you for the opportunity to address the conference today. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your kind attention. Well, it has been a great pleasure to meet you, Sam, and Lynn. Yes, we've enjoyed meeting you too, Victor. Yes, it's been great. What a pity you have to go home? Well, all good things must come to an end. But I'm sure we'll meet again. Yes, I hope so. And good luck with your business. I'm sure it will go well. And I wish you every success too. Well, I think we should drink a toast to the end of the conference, and to ourselves. Here's to us. Cheers. We should keep in touch. Yes. How about giving you my card? No. Thanks very much. Here's mine. Do you have a card, Lynn? Thank you. I'll. Thank you for watching.